All right. Shalom, family. It's your brother Kanaiba coming at you once again with this video titled Nike's Losing Money Over Woke Agenda. And do they really care? Okay. So in this particular video, I'm actually going to be giving my critique on basically a reaction video. Okay, and of course this reaction is going to be coming from a Miss Melanie King. Okay, and if if you brothers and sisters haven't checked out her YouTube channel, it's a nice YouTube channel. She has very interesting videos, dealing with a lot of the woke stuff that's going on today, right? But I found this particular video, pretty interesting. Okay, and it's really about Nike losing money over this quote-unquote woke agenda. Now, what is this woke agenda? Well, basically, and I believe it was an advertisement dealing with women's sports bras, and they actually have this individual that's a quote-unquote transgender basically being the model for females sports bras. Okay, and a lot of women are up in arms about it. Okay, and it's causing Nike to lose money. But as you see in the thumbnail here, I put, and do they really care? Okay, because you got to understand that it's not so much about the money. Now, true, they don't want to lose money, but when you look at this from a three-dimensional perspective, it's more about venerating, what they venerate and putting it out there, trying to force us to venerate it as well. Okay, and this is going into the concept of the GOAT, okay, or the more modern day name, the Baphomet, okay, which is basically both male and female. Okay, a more androgynous type of false deity. And that's what they venerate, within the craft. So, if it causes them to lose a few dollars, they really don't care as long as the agenda is being pushed. Okay, going into what they call the great work. Okay. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to get into her reaction. And of course, I'm going to give my critique. Okay, so let's get into it.
Hey guys, it's your girl Melanie, and looks like Nike's in trouble. No, so if you don't know, Nike for I would say over the past year has been on a campaign where they are basically pushing a lot of advertising dollars. They push campaigns of people like Dylan Mulvaney to the forefront to advertise women's clothing.
Right, and just so you'll know, Dylan Mulvaney is actually the transgender in question that's actually modeling the clothing for Nike, the women's clothing for Nike. Okay.
And in particular, women's sports bras. A transgender, woman, a man who is now dresses up as a woman who says that they're transgender. I don't know the situation, but and they are using this person to advertise something that for women in particular, women have needing a bra, women have breast. And so now you are insulting women by putting a sports bra on a man and say, hey, men can wear these too. We're not making things just for you women anymore. And so they basically, you can see a lot of times when their profits are slipping or they want to kind of ingratiate themselves with a progressive movement or the left, which you see with Disney, it usually backfires. It bites them in the butt. And they really believe that and even Bud Light, they really believe by abandoning their existing customer base, by insulting women, by insulting those who actually have supported their products for years, that somehow by now throwing this in their face and saying you're not necessary anymore, which we see in sports, this is happening, women being replaced, women who have competed, girls who have competed their whole life, trained their whole life to win certain spots in sports, they are now being replaced by trans women who now say that these are former men who have more testosterone, more bone density, more muscle mass, more strength inherently. I believe they say that a man's hand grip is 17 times the strength of a woman, something like that. And so with women being the much weaker vessel, once again, all the women's rights, all the things with all the spots that women have fought for, now former men are coming in and taking over these spaces, and companies are just allowing it. They say they support women out of one side of their mouth, but when it comes to the small minority group of trans women, they're okay with replacing women.
Now, on the surface level, okay, from a two-dimensional perspective, she's correct, okay? But looking at this from a spiritual vantage point, from a three-dimensional perspective, it's not so much them replacing women per se, okay? Because this has something to do with men too. What they want to do, they want to replace or get rid of the concept of gender in general, okay? Both male and female, okay? Because they want to uphold and venerate this more androgynous type of quote unquote false deity, like I said earlier, okay? And they had to do this basically in baby steps, okay? That's why over the years they have slowly been trying to erase what's known as traditional gender roles. Okay, notice that's how it started. Okay, and of course it all goes back to feminism. Okay, through feminism, what they did, they wanted to what? They wanted to try to blur and eventually erase traditional gender roles between men and women. Okay, to try to make it okay that, you know, men can do what women traditionally did and women can do what men traditionally did. Okay, in the past, you know, things that worked from the beginning of time, but now all of a sudden, here recently, they're saying, oh, that was wrong. Even though it worked for thousands of years, gender roles. But now all of a sudden there's something wrong with it. That's because that there's a bigger agenda at hand. Okay, they want to erase the concept of gender. Okay, because they want to promote, like I said, this more androgynous being, which is really the goat, the Baphomet or Pan, okay, which is both male. When you look at the Baphomet, it's both male, female, and of course, goat, right? But anyway, let's get back to it.
Women who would have a much deserved spot to be in that spot, women who are much more deserving to be in that spot, they're going to try to push that down our throat. And if you don't accept it, if you don't take it lying down and just agree with it, then they're going to ostracize you, try to cancel you, try to demonize you, try to take away your rights, take away your voice, take away your job, take away your livelihood.
And that's how you know we're actually in the last days, or this is one of the reasons we know we're in the last days, okay? Because this place, honestly, this place is really worse than Sodom now. Okay, I'm calling it. Okay, it's worse than Sodom, right? That's why when you read in the Gospels, when you read, I believe it's Matthew the 24th chapter, it talks about how, roughly paraphrasing, how the Most High would basically speed up time for the elect's sake. Okay, because of how evil the days are right now. Okay, because I mean, just think about it. If the Most High didn't speed up the time, I mean, this place will swallow up Israel. Okay, even the very elect. Okay, could basically be consumed by this madness. Okay, so it's only through the mercies of the Most High, Yahweh, and His Son Yahweh Shai that, you know, He's speeding up the time for our sake because He loves us so much. He doesn't want us to endure this for too long, because this is crazy. This place is definitely worse than Sodom. All right.
even on YouTube, I can get demonetized for even talking about this and actually expressing something as a woman where I feel disenfranchised by a person like Dylan Mulvaney taking the spot of another woman. But let's take a look at what they were talking about when they put Dylan Mulvaney out, and now they are reaping the consequences of what they have done.
Now to the controversy surrounding Nike's decision to use a transgender influencer to promote its female sport clothing range, including sports bras. Trans star Dylan Mulvaney is the latest face of the brand's female sports clothing, but Nike's decision has come in for plenty of criticism from all sorts of people. To shed some more light on this, I am now joined by Katie John Went, who's a diversity and inclusion facilitator. Thank you very much indeed. Happy Easter to you, Katie. Now,
Now, before Melanie actually reacts to this, okay, let's point out a few things here, okay? Let's first point out the fact that this interview is taking place on the day of Easter, okay? And that's not by happenstance, okay? I told you all, they're in the craft, okay? They venerate these different pagan holidays, okay? And notice, again, the interviewer, okay, the lady to the right, she's wearing what? She's wearing orange. Orange is for what? Enlightenment. It represents the number 33, sacrifice. Okay, and it represents what? What also? The sun. Okay, and again, this is going back to what? Tammuz. Okay, because Tammuz is supposed to be what? The reincarnation of the sun god, which goes back to who? Nimrod. Okay, that's why when you look to the right at the transgender right there to the right, when you look at his shirt, it appears to be on his shirt, I could be wrong, but it appears to be sunflowers. Okay, still putting emphasis on the sun. Okay, because again, this is taking place on Easter. Okay, Easter is about what? Ishtar and her son Tammuz. Okay, even when you look at Christmas is about what? Sol Invictus, or the unconquered sun, which again is about Tammuz, December the 25th. Okay, that's the quote-unquote birthday of Tammuz. Okay, Christmas and Easter has nothing to do with the Messiah. It has nothing to do with the Bible either. Okay, but that's why, again, this particular interview is taking place on Easter, and that's why they're wearing what they're wearing. Okay, they're and this is just my critique, but I believe they are fully aware of what they're doing. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to it.
Diversity and inclusion, what facilitator? Who makes up? We're talking about a made up job, a made up degree. Now we need a diversity inclusion. Oh gosh. And of course, this is what this person looks like. But this is what it said. We are living in cuckoo land now, where it is stuffed down your throat, all of these different types of agendas. And it's so funny. They try to ride the coattails of something like civil rights, which was an actual issue here in the United States. And so what they now try to say is that any group that feels any kind of way, they want to use that as they want to ride on the backs of civil rights of Martin Luther King and people who actually tried to make a difference in this world and in this country. And they try to ride the coattails of that and shoehorn their craziness, this foolishness, and now try to say these things where most you are seeing, and I'm actually going to do a report on this, how the Black people are now waking up and seeing how this is actually hurting them. This is why you see, I think it's by 20 points now that African Americans are now leaving the Democratic Party and going Republican.
Well, tomato. Okay, it's really just two different sides of the same Luciferian coin. Okay, now granted, the Republican Party are more conservative. They may seem to have more traditional values, but at the end of the day, they're just simply controlled opposition. Okay, they're really on the same team with the Democrats. Okay, just to give you the illusion of choice, in which you don't have. Okay.
It is absolutely insane. And the Democrats cannot believe it because we're seeing what they're doing. We're seeing what they're doing with the migrants in these sanctuary city and taking away resources from Black people because they see these migrants, they see these people as their new base. They were only pandering to and include us when they could get our vote. But now that our vote, we are a shrinking minority, and that these migrants are a growing minority in the country. They don't need us anymore. So they're taking away what we have and now giving it to others. So a lot of black people that I'm talking to, they're done with the Democratic Party because they realize they've been pandered to and lied to by people like this their entire life.
Understand why there has been such uproar about this particular transgender person getting this brand deal.
I do understand it, yes, and there are kind of multiple angles on.
How you doing? How you doing, sis? What your name is?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Okay, I was definitely thinking the same thing as soon as he started talking. I'm thinking, maybe he's not fully, transformed. They haven't dealt with his voice yet. Because there's definitely still a man's voice. I mean, it's still a man in general, okay? I don't care what type of surgery you go through, okay? You were born a man, sir. You're a man, okay? But anyway, let's get back to it.
Why people are upset with it. Some people are upset simply by the body type, the overall kind of thinness and kind of not advertising a kind of a healthy body type, perhaps. Others are upset by that it's a trans person potentially taking kind of a woman's kind of opportunity to advertise in Nike. But it's not as if Nike don't advertise women as well. And obviously the biggest issue that has blown up is the fact that it is a transgender person advertising a woman's range of clothes. Yet, ironically for me, over the last few years, some of the things that have come out that even J.K. Rowling has said is, let people wear what they want. The whole question is about spaces. And this is a person wearing what they want.
Just let people wear what they want. See, you got to understand the underlying message here. Okay, most of these people are what they call Thelemites, okay? They're adherents to the quote-unquote Satanist Aleister Crowley, okay? And we know one of his famous quotes was what? Do what thou wilt. Okay, that's the underlying message when he's saying just let anybody wear what they want. What he's really saying, and that's just my critique, it's just going back to Aleister Crowley's quote, do what thou wilt. Okay? And now we got to look at this photo. Look at how they framed this photo. Okay? This individual is lying down, but look at how they have the end of the ponytail. Okay, they have it split as if he has horns. You see that? Because again, what they do, they venerate the quote-unquote androgynous false deity known as the Baphomet. Remember? Okay, the Baphomet, or Pan, or really the Baphomet, more up-to-date name, is what? Both male, female, and what? Goat. That's why they had to frame this individual. It's her, in the shape of horns. Okay? But anyway, let's continue.
And it's certainly kind of blowing up on social media.
Oh, and also, you can't forget, look at the outfit that this individual is wearing. Okay, this transgender. Look at the color scheme. It's both black and white, which represents what? The coming together of opposites. Again, this was not by happenstance, okay? Now, some of you who, are thinking more on a two-dimensional level, you may say, well, people can't wear white and black together. Well, no, I'm not saying that, okay? Your average everyday person can do that, and it may not be anything behind it, okay? But we're looking at this individual that's basically a model for Nike. Okay, a Nike, an organization that we really know is in the craft. Okay, is blatant. Okay, they're having this individual wear black and white because it represents the coming together of opposites. And again, this is a transgender, which that in and of itself represents what? The coming together of opposites, the male and the female aspect, the masculine and the feminine. Again, they want this more androgynous type of being because they're trying to erase the concept of gender. They're trying to bring both together. Okay? But anyway, let's continue.
It's giving Nike both good advertising, bad advertising, but 100% it's working.
It's working. So you're telling me that Dylan Mulvaney increased sales with Nike amongst women? Who is the demographic? How many transgender women are there to actually buy a Nike sports bra or buy women's clothing? They are very small, minute minority.
Because again, in the grand scheme of things, it's not about the customers or the customer satisfaction. Okay? See, Melanie is looking at this from a more surface level. And from a surface level, she is correct. Okay, but again, these companies like Nike, they don't necessarily care about the customer. Okay, it's about pushing the agenda, pushing what they actually venerate out into the world. And like I said, you know, if they lose a few dollars doing it, they really don't care. Okay, because it's not really hurting them. I mean, it's Nike. Okay, it's not really hurting them like that, believe it or not. Okay, they're willing to lose a few dollars, you know, to push what they venerate. And again, it's no different from Disney. Disney is doing the same thing, pushing this woke feminist agenda. Okay, just look at the Marvel, the whole Marvel thing with all the superheroes trying to change traditionally male superheroes, making them female and pushing the female leads. Okay, and these movies are plummeting. Okay, they flop. And people wonder why Disney continues to do this when those movies, when they push this woke feminist agenda, they continue to flop. Why? Because they don't care necessarily about that. Okay? What they really care about is getting these ideologies into your psyche so you can be an adherent or a venerator of the same things that they venerate. Okay? Pushing the quote-unquote divine feminine. Okay, but like I said, Disney is no different from Nike in this aspect. Okay, people wonder, well, you know, Disney and Nike, they're pretty much shooting themselves in the foot doing this stuff, but they continue to do it because, again, they really don't care. There's a bigger picture that people are not realizing. Okay.
So you're telling me women across the U.S., across the world, okay, have decided to buy Nike's women's wear because this is now advertising for women? Is what you're trying to tell me? This was a good thing, but we're seeing that it wasn't a good thing because they have lost so many shares. They're trying to make up $2 billion over the next 2 years after a disastrous campaign like this. This is the thing. They leave behind their core base. They don't find out what women really want. Women don't want this fool gallivanting around cosplaying as one of us. That is, and then you get upset if we have a problem when our girls and our women are being replaced by something like this.
Well, again, it's not so much that they're replacing women, okay, because it's not just women, okay. What they're really replacing is the concept of gender in general. Okay, it's not just women. They want to erase the concept of gender. Okay, that's why they're having this quote unquote transgender or androgynous individual basically represent this ad for Nike, because that's what they venerate. That's what they're trying to push. Okay, I told you they've been gradually doing this over the years. It started with feminism trying to blur and erase the concept of traditional gender roles. And once they do that, then they move on to the next steps, which is basically getting people to embrace transgenderism. Okay, there's no such thing as traditional gender roles. Well, let's take it a step further. There's no such thing as gender, period. Okay.
making fun of women. I didn't see anything that this person was doing that was womanly. It seems like they're making fun of women, dancing around and doing all these other things. Women have enough issues. But honestly, have women brought this on themselves? Because I don't see men advocating for these things. Women will be the same ones that will say, oh, I got a gay best friend, and girl, you know, I love my trans brother and sister. I love this, that, and the other. But what's the first thing women do when a man rejects them? What's the first thing a woman does if a man says something to them that they don't like? What did they do to my good friend Kevin Samuels? As soon as they don't like a man, they turn around and use gay as a slur. They turn around and use the same things that they celebrate and they push and they want to be inclusive. They turn around and use it against them. So I'm done with the hypocrisy, and I'm done with the hypocrisy of these companies.
And to her point, to Melanie's point, you know, she's correct about that particular part. Okay, it is hypocrisy because women are the main advocates or the main supporters of this particular lifestyle. Okay, when it comes to the what is it, the LGBTQ or whatever it is, women are the main supporters of that particular lifestyle. Okay, but now that these particular people are coming into their spaces and basically trying to, what Melanie says, replace them, now all of a sudden it's a problem. But wait a minute, you were the main ones that were supporting them to begin with. But now it's a problem because it feels like they're replacing you. Okay, now that support that you were giving them is coming back to bite you in the behind, and you don't like it, right? But anyway, let's continue.
But let's get back to how you doing.
How you doing, sis?
Getting their brand talked about, so it's a win-win for them in some respects.
But Katie, what it is for me that I don't like is the fact that this Dylan seems to be mocking, playing a woman.
What you mean seems to be playing a woman? That's exactly what he's doing. He's playing a woman because he's not one. Okay, again, I don't care how many surgeries he goes through. Listen, he was born male. Okay, this is not a female. This is not a woman. He's doing exactly what you just accused him of. Playing a woman. Okay?
You know, the dancing around like a little girl, the over-the-top sort of impersonation of a young woman. I find it offensive. I really do find it offensive. If you're a transgender woman, it seems like Dylan is acting.
Madam, again, that's exactly what he's doing. He's acting. He's acting like a woman because he's not one. He's completely putting on an act. Okay, this is a man acting like a woman. Okay, that's why so many females are quote unquote insulted and up in arms about this. They feel like they're being replaced. Okay, because deep within their heart of hearts, they understand that this is not a woman. He's acting like one. Okay.
Well, I mean, they've had this kind of whole account that has blown up over in the US, particularly over TikTok and Instagram. Their kind of whole everyday posting about their journey, their discovery of themselves the last year, and it's got them seen by presidents and everyone. So it's completely understand why kind of Nike are actually thinking, hey, this is a good opportunity for us to get on that bandwagon of publicity. They've got millions of followers. So it's clearly people are following them who like what Dylan is doing.
But clearly, and then of course, don't actually answer the question. Actually, that spins it and makes it, well, it's a positive because all these millions of people are following. And so, of course, that's going to translate into dollars for Nike. Of course, all of these people are going to now buy products from Nike, and they're not going to alienate their core customer base in the meantime. They're having to cut jobs and they're losing money.
It's not my cup of tea either. I'm a much more elderly person. It doesn't make me rush out like Nike sports equipment. I go as far as the Nike trainers, but I'm not going to be going fast running or anything anytime soon. But they're a musical performer. Their background is in performance. They performed and appeared in the Mormon show, you know, the Book of Mormon. So that is who they are. It is them by nature, performance and the rest of it.
But But I find it offensive that it seems to me that this person is jumping on a bandwagon of being a transgender woman and trying to make money out of it. Because this complete over-the-top interpretation of what it means to be a female, I find, as a woman, very offensive. I really don't like it.
Madam, stop the cap. Okay. You claim that you don't like it, you know, sitting there with all that orange on. Madam, you are enlightened, okay, or you are privy to what's going on. Okay, let's not do that. You can claim you don't like it, but you know exactly what's going on, madam. Okay, and of course, this is just my critique. I could be wrong. Okay.
I genuinely am horrified by the fact that we're holding up this person as a woman, as someone who is a woman, while Nike is a sports company. You know, why isn't it having, I don't know, someone like Sharon Davies being the pin-up there? I just can't understand why they would try and elevate this person who's pretending to be a woman.
Yeah, Nike already sponsor like half of the Lionesses, and they are great advocates for being a woman in sport. And that is probably the kind of person I will want to go and look at on Instagram if I wanted to find a great example of women who are active and fit and encouraging young girls and young women into sport and seeing role models. This is perhaps more a role model for some trans people. It's not my kind of role model. There are hundreds of ways to be trans. There are thousands of ways to be female. Yes, it is playing into...
No, there is not thousands of ways to be female. There is one way biologically through science to be a female.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you. You're the only person on the screen that actually has their head on right. Okay, because again, there's, like she said, there's only one way biologically to be a female. Okay, there's only one way biologically to be a male. Okay, and more importantly, this goes back to the Bible. Okay, when you look at the creation story in the book of Genesis, what does the scripture say? It says, male and female created he them. Okay, only two genders. Okay, male and female created he them. There's not 1,000 ways to be a woman. There's not 1,000 ways to be a man. There's not thousands of genders. Okay, there's only two. Male and female created he them. Okay?
Now, if you want to identify as a female, because that's where your mindset is, that's where your brain feels, that's how you want to dress and appear. But there is only one way to be a female, sis. Let's get it. We can get it popping on this topic, because I'm tired of them trying to say that they can be a female. It takes away womanhood. It takes away what it means to be a woman. It is spitting and mocking women like Rosa Parks, women who have actually fought for things in this country for women, and has actually supported women's rights and women's agendas. Okay. And you guys know I'm against feminism and all that foolishness that comes against men. But to me, this is another move of feminism that is not, and it's a movement where women have supported feminism. Everything's okay. Everything's fine. All these the things. And you see now a lot of women are not liking what it has led to, but it has led to this now. It has led to where women are now being erased. Things that women want to claim for themselves, particularly in sports, those are being erased because now former men can now just claim. They don't even have to transition fully medically. They don't have to actually do anything. You can appear as a man with a beard and everything else and say, I am a woman and you must accept it. Well, why can't I be transracial?
Well, now, you know, if you dabble in Christianity, you can be transracial. Okay, according to them, you know, all you got to do is have faith, believe on the Messiah, and, you know, then you magically turn into a spiritual Israelite. So, you know, if you want to dabble in that concept of transracialism, if that's even a word, that's Christianity 101. Okay? In which we know that whole concept is not biblically based. Okay, it's a made-up concept. Okay,
racial. They crucified Rachel Dolezal or whatever, and she's using a new name and is on OnlyFans now. They crucified her. She said she was black. Why couldn't the world accept her? Why can't you just say that you're any age you want to be? Why are you allowed to change your gender, but yet it's absurd to say you want to change anything else? And everyone should just suspend logic and suspend reasoning and just accept it. And then if my daughter wants to join a sorority, or if my daughter wants to, she wants to be on the swim team, she has to accept that a former boy who still has boy anatomy is now going to be on the team, who is stronger, bigger, who is obviously more athletic than a girl will ever be. Now we have to accept. We are the ones being penalized. Women are the ones being penalized the most by this agenda that is started by people who are biologically men at first.
Yes, women may be getting penalized, but again, going back to your original point, they were the main advocates for this particular, lifestyle. Okay, so you could basically say this is what they call karma coming back to bite them. Okay, but here again, now they're being disenfranchised by the same people, basically, that they supported. Okay, the irony. Okay, but yeah, this place has got to go. Okay, this is Gotham City. Okay, just a bunch of weirdos. Okay.
Until somebody can tell me how they can stop calling us cisgender and actually trying to put women down and trying to take things away from women, create your own space. And then until somebody can show me how they can do that, it is not up to me as a woman to accept this and just accept me being erased in society because you want to be here now. It is absolutely not acceptable. And to keep trying to force this down our throat, and then companies supporting this instead of real women who have overcome and achieved things in life, instead of this fool prancing around like an idiot cosplaying as a woman. Until companies stop doing this, they're going to continue losing. They're going to continue losing ground because TikTok is not real life. Followers on TikTok are not your customers. They're not the ones buying products. And until they get that through their head, I don't know what it's going to take. Until they get it through their head, we are going to keep suffering, and women are going to keep suffering and keep paying the consequences for this foolishness. Guys, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. This was a really all over rant. It's my first time covering a topic like this, guys. So just forgive me if it's all over the place, but I appreciate if you guys give me a follow on social media, in particular in my Facebook, because my Facebook was hacked and I'm trying to build that back up. So if you guys give me a follow over there, I'd greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
And that's going to be the end of my video as well. And of course, the title of this video is Nike's losing money over woke agenda. And do they really care? Okay. And of course, the answer is not really. To an extent they do, but not really. Okay, like I've been saying. Okay, if it costs them a few bucks to push the agenda that they really want to push, or to venerate what they venerate, they don't mind losing a few dollars. Okay, it's not really hurting their pockets, right? Because again, it's all about venerating or pushing what they call the great work. Okay, and to get you to be an adherent to it as well. Okay, that's why they steady do this. Companies like Nike and, like I said, Disney, where people wonder why it seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot, putting out product that basically flops, or, they lose customers because of this. They're trying to force this woke agenda on people, and they continually do the same things. Okay, that you would think one would stop doing that if it seems like they're losing money, but that should let you know that it's bigger than the money. Okay, it's something that they're trying to force on the people. Okay, but with that, and as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, which is the name of the Heavenly Father, and I do so by Hashem, which means in the name of Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the only begotten Son of the Heavenly Father, whom the world knows as Jesus Christ. And I want to thank all you brothers and sisters for tuning in. I hope this video was informative and edifying. And until next time, Shalom, family.